What's up, everybody? It's Soren Baker here on Unique Access Entertainment. As always, please hit that subscribe button. It's right down there and it's free. That enables us to keep coming to y'all as often as possible with as many interviews as possible, great debaters as possible, and first and 15ths and other things we bring you here on Unique Access Entertainment. So please hit that subscribe button, like our content, share it, talk about it, be about it, each one, teach one. And some people have been telling me that they've subscribed, but then they're not showing up subscribed. So two things you could do to help that: make sure you are subscribed if you already have, but then also when you watch Unique Access Entertainment video, make sure to watch 2 or 3 in a row so we are in your algorithm, and join us as a member if you haven't already, because that really helps us behind the scenes and with getting some of these things we're trying to get off the ground here on Unique Access Entertainment. Now, today we have the honor and privilege of being joined by DJ Too Tuff. Back again. Thank you for coming through yet again, sir.
Thank you for having me again, man. My honor to be on here as always.
Yes, yes. So Too Tuff has been putting out a lot of material, and one thing he's got out that's current is the Me Versus Me project. Definitely check that out if you haven't already. It's available on all DSPs and supported in any way that you can. I've been listening to it now for a while. Great project. So Too Tuff, right out the gate, let's get this out the way. What did the Me Versus Me represent and symbolize for you?
Early on in the process, the first album, Behold the Detonator, shortly after getting a deal with Chuck and Spit Slam, well, Rough Nation, who also gave me a deal for the vinyl for my Lost Archives, they bought me a MPC X. And I figured it was going to be an easy ride into the transition between the 2000. And before that, I used the MPC 60. So I've always been an MPC guy. And it wasn't that easy of a transition. I had some resentments. I used to sneer at the MPC sitting next to me. I got it all hooked up and plugged in and everything. I had people giving me sound packs and stuff, coming over excited, but I wasn't ready to put in the work yet. I had a resentment against a damn drum machine. So remember the last time I had a drum machine episode, I ended up on the People's Court. So I was going to handle this one just a little bit better. And I started to put in a little bit of work every day. I started with 15 minutes and then 20 minutes and then 45 minutes. And then I found myself 68 days later, I almost had the album done, the new Me Versus Me one, and I live a different lifestyle now than I did 4 years ago. And we spoke about recovery on the last show, but now it's like real life situation. Okay, the pink cloud part is over. So we want to get to real life. And for me, it's like I'm 4 years old again, because I'd been living I was walking down a different path. So all of the scenery on this path is brand new. I never saw it before. So when I wake up in the morning, sometimes I got to pinch myself for Rough Nation and Chuck D and Spit Slam and Freeway. Secret, we just did a new remix for Freeway that's going to drop on Spit Slam. Salute to my boy Black Medine, also on Spit Slam. So a lot is happening. And it's a battle up here, I got a 9-year-old son. He just turned 9. He plays for the Ronhurst Raiders. So I'm a dad. I go out there and I'd strap his shoulder pads on. He never wore equipment before, and I'm doing remixes, and I just, completed the album. It's a time crunch, even to slot out my phone, 1/3 of my phone is like AA dudes that I might be helping or are helping me. And then I got just to be honest, the street situation, whatever that may entail. And then my family, and then a huge chunk of it is the music. It's always been, for everybody, it's really you versus you. It depends on how much action are you willing to take, feeling uncomfortable, still moving forward through it. I'm supposed to be a legendary DJ and all of this, but I wake up in the morning. Some mornings I don't feel so legendary, but I know I got to go upstairs and make a track. I came to find out that the blessing is not in the final product, but it's in the process that I'm going through while I'm making it. I never knew, because I'm like, I got to do it. I got to power drive it. And I started to listen to Alan Watts, and I started to listen to Sandy Beach and some of those AA speakers and inspirational, speakers I incorporated into the album. I actually used Tom Brady Jr. on my album, and it was speaking about manifestation. What I concentrate on sooner or later will come to pass in my life. And when it said, if I concentrate on sickness, well, I was trying to make sick beats. So, you know, so this album was like, I made the beats with the drum machine that I had a resentment against, you know, so I overcame and hurdled a couple tall walls, you know, that I built for myself, just being unwilling. And when the willingness arrived, dude, we spoke about the headline last time was Too Tuff says that he sometimes prays to Styles P. And I was talking about, you know, being able to pray with gangster music playing in the background. But praying, you know, I prayed before I did every one of these songs because I didn't know what I was going to make. I had beats that I made, and I had a lot of them, and I had to slot them in, and then I stole a lot of stuff off of YouTube, police car chases and scenes walking through Kensington buying drugs for real with a spy cam on, you know, not me, but the stuff off of YouTube. And it was really fun to build a Drugscape, you know, for this album, Me Versus Me. So it was a lot of internal battle just for me to get it done.
Yeah, well, the internal battle is highlighted on one of my favorite songs of Me Versus Me, which is Come to Pass. And that one, you know, you have the talk about control theory, and the inner controls the outer, and enters your conscious and different things, and the outers people will influence you. And that one, from getting to know you over the last couple of years and talking to you several times, that ties also into the theme of Me Versus Me, of this struggle and this duality that you're dealing with on a daily, hourly, minutely basis. So when you were doing Come to Pass, how did you let that control theory, the inner and the outer, kind of guide you?
It was one of the first tracks that I made on this Me Versus Me, you know, project. It was, the beat was done by a guy that I've been doing beats with for a while. His name is Alcatraz, and I used some of his stuff as little fly-ins on the last album and this one as well. This year I might cook crack for Thanksgiving, or off Grind Hard. Well, that was Alka. And he's got a lot of beats that were pre-made. I took one and grabbed a chunk of it. And I was told that I can only keep what I have by giving it away. Sounds like a conundrum, right? I gotta keep mining all of my life. And whatever I find, I gotta give it away. And then I'm gonna be taken care of. I'm not gonna have to put a lot of effort into the thought process, but I do have to put effort into the action process. So I'm grateful to be here. And let's move to the next question. Come to Pass came from sending out text messages to other people that I know may be struggling to get 1 day clean, 10 days clean, 5 years clean. Because the way that we think when we're not using anything is what makes us special. You know, we'll use the word special. Some people could say alcoholics, addicts, whatever you want to call it. But we have this quirky mental twist that makes us say, it might be a good idea to pick one up again. After all of the pain that we just went through for the last 35 years, you know, when life gets overwhelming, a text from somebody out of nowhere that says, hey, remember, we read this in the morning today. And it draws them back out of a situation where they might go down there and pick up a Perk 30 and it got fentanyl in it. And that's the end of that person. So if I can say something on your show, again, to save somebody's life just by me putting myself out on a limb and disclosing stuff that normally maybe artists wouldn't disclose about themselves and the practices that they do behind the scenes, well, it's worth it to me. You know, the platform was given to me so I could use it.
And with that being said, what are the differences? Like you said, you're living like a 4-year-old, a new life. So what is different? What's happening that's such a dramatic change for you?
Well, I try to follow this method of living. First, I found a book called The 4 Agreements, and it gave me 4 secrets. Don't take anything personally. I ended up doing a lot of, they call it a commitment. So I figured I'd take out a little bit insurance against the first rock, a little bit insurance against the first aggravated assault, a little bit of insurance against the first, 40. I found that other people, they pay attention closely to what I'm doing, and they look to me as sort of a role model, if you could say that, and maybe in the, it was difficult for a long time. And I took a couple actions, and I had to do it with another person. And that person was my sponsor. I don't want to make the whole interview be about AA, but this is how I changed my life. I started to take suggestions from people who were complete strangers to me, but told me, you're doing good, keep coming back. Nobody at my house was telling me I was doing good. They was like, you're a piece of shit. You got a show tonight. I'm gonna, throw your laptop out the window. And those things haven't happened since I took a couple steps and I allowed another person to make suggestions to me about where I may have been wrong in my life. I wrote it down on a list. Bless you. I wrote it down on a list, and then I told it to somebody, and then I went back to my enemies. That's why we made the song Enemies on the Behold the Detonator joint. Shout out to Chuck D. I went back to my enemies and I made something called amends. Unless I was going to hurt them, then I went back to them and I squashed some type of negative energy that I may or may not have caused. I was only there to clean my side of the street. And I found that when I did those things, the music came easier. It came effortlessly. I would hear a car driving by and it said, and it said, do something to us, talk, go through us. And then it ends up on the album, and I remember where I got it from. It was just a boy driving by with a loud ass system. So the less I try to force stuff, the better it turns out. And that goes for my son. If his shoes untied, if he didn't clean up his toys, that goes for my girl. If she's unappreciative, or if I didn't show up somewhere for 2 hours, I got a little, hiatus of where I was at. We all have real life problems, and the best way to deal with them is with a little bit of kindness and compassion. Tolerance is a good word. Humility is another good word. These are ones that I got to put on my billboard. Matter of fact, they're already on the billboard.
Yeah, well, the Four Agreements book is a excellent book. I recommend everybody read it. And shout out to Dizzy Wright, a great rapper who had the First Agreement album. And after talking to him, I'd read parts of the Four Agreements before, but after talking to him, I read the whole thing. Never take things personally, always do your best. The word is immaculate. You gotta stick by these things.
How about be impeccable with your word?
Be impeccable with your word.
That one is hard.
That's the first agreement.
It says if you do the first one, your life will become like a living utopia.
Yeah. It
just watch what you say.
Just makes things a lot easier. But this is and always do your best. They have the caveat in there. Some days you're going to be feeling better. Some days you're going to be sick. Some days you're going to be tired. Some days you're going to feel your best. But under the circumstances, always do your best. And don't take things personally is the hardest one for me, because when I was growing up, my dad tried to teach me that lesson, but I was like, Dad, but they're doing it to me. He's like, but it's not about you. And when I read the Four Agreements, it really made me understand that it necessarily wasn't about me most of the time. It was the other people's actions. So congratulations for you with that. Now, with Me Versus Me, the project in general, one thing I've noticed, and even with Behold the Detonator, a lot of the material on here is maybe more so Me Versus Me, but it's very confrontational, maybe tying into the title, the sound, the scratches, the snippets that you're taking from different things. And that starts off with cold blood right out the gate. So why did you, as you look back, why did Me Versus Me have so much confrontation throughout?
I didn't know the title was going to be Me Versus Me until maybe 7 songs in. And I hit the sophomore wall, I got 7 under my belt, and then I thought it was going to come easy, and I found out that I had to go back, and it's never intricate enough for me. If there's not 4 tracks of scratch and 3 significant lines from a gangster rapper, and then something from a movie, a gangster movie, Christopher Walken, whoever it might be, then it's not done to me. I don't know how to breathe. Last album, Behold the Detonator, I got advice from Thorough 215, OT The Real, Soup Kitchen. I did 33 songs with Thorough. I did Behold the Detonator with him, and then we did Me Versus Me, and we did a couple remixes on the side. He's got his fingerprints all over my stuff because he achieved stuff in the studio that I can't do at home. I'm not an expert with Studio 1-4. I'm a turntable, a scratcher. So I do it, and then I get it over there and we can work the magic, standing over his shoulder, and then he starts twisting shit backwards and stuff like that. So
be sure to check out the History of Gangster Rap by Soren Baker. He's official.
History of Gangster Rap features exclusive interviews with Ice-T, Snoop Dogg, MC Ren, the D.O.C, and dozens of others. The History of Gangster Rap, a definitive look at how Los Angeles changed rap forever.
In Los Angeles, the streets definitely set the tone of the hip-hop music.
At 19, I got a $50,000 car.
My whole angle always was, I'll be street, but I will always tell you the horrors that go along with this life.
It will be penalties and casualties for just wearing the wrong color in somebody's neighborhood.
And once gangster rap made it from the streets to the TV, the genre exploded.
With Fab 5 on Yo MTV back with NWA.
Yo MTV, it just catapulted us from being local heroes to national gangbang rappers.
The History of Gangster Rap discusses it all from 1980 up till today.
It's always gonna be shit happening in the streets. You know what I mean? So it's always gonna be something to talk about.
The History of Gangster Rap in stores now.